Get ready to dive into the festive spirit with my Candy Cane Fudge recipe. This 2-layer fudge is the perfect holiday treat, combining rich, semi-sweet chocolate and creamy white chocolate with crunchy, minty candy canes on top. Whether you're whipping it up for a holiday party or planning to give it as a thoughtful homemade gift, this recipe is sure to impress, and I'm so excited to walk you through it step by step. Hi, I'm Arina. On this channel, I love sharing my favorite recipes and tips to help make your homemade treats not only taste amazing, but look just as good too. Today, we're diving into something special, and I'm excited to take you through it step by step. You'll find links to all the tools I use and more recipes in the description below. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Arina. On this channel, I love sharing my favorite recipes and tips to help make your homemade treats not only taste amazing, but look just as good too. Today, we're diving into something special, and I'm excited to take you through it step by step. You'll find links to all the tools I use and more recipes in the description below. Let's get started. Here's a quick explanation on setting up a double boiler. Fill a saucepan 1/3 full with water and bring it to a simmer. Reduce the heat to low and place a bowl on top, ensuring it doesn't touch the water. This method melts ingredients gently without burning. Once the bowl is set over the double boiler, we'll begin by adding all of the ingredients for the base of our fudge. First, combine 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips into the bowl. This will give our fudge that rich, chocolatey foundation. Next, pour in half a can of sweetened condensed milk. That's about 8 ounces. This adds a creamy, smooth texture to the fudge that makes every bite melt in your mouth. Then add 2 tablespoons of room temperature unsalted butter. The softened butter will melt seamlessly into the mixture, giving it a silky consistency. Finally, add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract to enhance the overall flavor. Stir everything together gently using a silicone spatula until the mixture is smooth and well combined. I personally love using a silicone spatula for this task because it's flexible yet sturdy, making it perfect for scraping down the sides of the bowl to ensure nothing sticks. It's also heat resistant, which is great when working with warm mixtures like fudge, as it doesn't melt or warp. Plus, the silicone surface helps prevent any bits of fudge from being left behind, ensuring every ingredient is fully incorporated into that smooth, luscious mixture. I hope you're having as much fun making this candy cane fudge as I am. If you're enjoying this recipe, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss out on more holiday treats. Have you tried making fudge like this before? How did it turn out? Got any tips or twists you like to add? I'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Now, let's dive back in and finish up this delicious festive fudge. Once all the ingredients are melted together and you've got a smooth, glossy mixture, it's time to fold in 2 tablespoons of crushed peppermint candy canes. This is one of my favorite parts because those candy canes add that perfect festive crunch, along with a refreshing burst of minty flavor that really takes this fudge to the next level. When folding the candy canes in, be sure to use your silicone spatula to gently mix them in evenly. The flexible spatula helps ensure that the candy cane bits are well distributed throughout the fudge, giving you that delicious peppermint crunch in every bite. If you're wondering how to perfectly crush candy canes without making a mess, I've got a full blog post where I share my favorite method. It's quick, easy, and ensures you get the perfect candy cane pieces for your fudge. Be sure to check that out for all my tips. Next, we'll transfer the fudge mixture to our 8x8 cheesecake pan, which should already be lined with parchment paper. Lining the pan is key to making sure the fudge lifts out easily later on, giving you those perfectly smooth edges. If you're not sure how to line a pan perfectly, don't worry. I've got a separate video where I walk you through the whole process step by step, so be sure to check that out. If you're curious about what pan is best to use for fudge, I also have another video where I break down the pros and cons of different types of pans and explain why I love using a cheesecake pan for this recipe. It really makes a difference in getting those neat, professional-looking results. Once the fudge is evenly spread in the pan, we'll pop it into the fridge to let the first layer set. This usually takes about an hour, but it's a crucial step to ensure the layers don't blend together and stay distinct. The waiting can be tough, but trust me, it's worth it. While the bottom layer sets in the fridge, it's the perfect time to get ready for the top layer, our creamy white chocolate fudge. First, give your mixing bowl a good wash to remove any leftover chocolate from the first layer. You want to start with a clean bowl so the white chocolate stays nice and pure without mixing in any dark chocolate. Once your bowl is clean, set up your double boiler again, just like we did for the first layer. Now, add 1.5 cups of white chocolate chips to the bowl. Next, pour in 8 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, that's half a can. The sweetness and creaminess from the condensed milk really help balance the white chocolate. Then, add 2 tablespoons of room temperature unsalted butter. The butter adds richness and helps create a smooth, creamy consistency. Finally, add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract for that subtle flavor boost. Stir the mixture until it's all well combined and silky smooth. As you stir, you'll see the ingredients melt together, forming a rich, glossy texture. Take your time with this step to make sure everything is fully incorporated. You're aiming for a velvety, lump-free consistency that practically shines. This is what gives the fudge its creamy texture once it sets. The smoother your mixture is at this stage, the better the final result will be. Once the white chocolate mixture is silky smooth and ready, it's time to assemble our fudge. I start by removing the cheesecake pan with the first layer of fudge from the fridge. The bottom chocolate layer should be nicely set by now, firm to the touch, but not completely hard. This firmness ensures that the layers won't mix together when we add the top layer. With the bottom layer ready, I carefully pour the warm white chocolate mixture over the set chocolate layer in the pan. I like to pour it slowly and evenly, starting from the center and working my way out to the edges. This helps prevent any potential sinking or unevenness. The warmth of the white chocolate mixture can sometimes soften the top of the bottom layer, so pouring gently is key. Next, I use a clean spatula to spread the white chocolate layer evenly across the pan. I make sure to reach all the corners and create a smooth, level surface. It's important to be gentle during this step to avoid disturbing the bottom chocolate layer. You want to maintain that distinct separation between the two layers for a beautiful presentation when you cut the fudge later. A little tip: tap the pan gently on the countertop a few times after spreading. This helps release any air bubbles and allows the layers to settle nicely together. It also ensures that the top layer is perfectly smooth. Now, with both layers assembled, we are ready to move on to the final touches that make this candy cane fudge truly special. And don't forget the finishing touch: 1 tablespoon of crushed peppermint candy canes sprinkled evenly over the top. This adds a festive pop of color and a nice crunchy texture to balance out the creamy layers. If you're planning to freeze this fudge though, here's a little tip. I recommend using Andy's Peppermint Crunch baking chips instead of candy canes. Crushed candy canes tend to melt when you defrost the fudge, while the baking chips hold up much better and keep that delicious peppermint crunch. I've included a link for the chips in the description below. Just gently press whichever topping you choose into the top layer with your spatula to make sure they stick, and you're all set. Once you've added the final touches, it's time to let the fudge set. Refrigerate it for at least 2 hours to allow the layers to firm up completely. If you have the time, I recommend leaving it in the fridge overnight for the best results. The longer setting time ensures that the fudge reaches the perfect texture, firm enough to cut cleanly into squares, but still creamy and melt in your mouth delicious. Patience really pays off here, especially if you're planning to serve or gift the fudge later. Once the fudge has fully set in the fridge, whether after a couple of hours or overnight, it's time for the big reveal. Remove the pan from the fridge and carefully lift the fudge out by the overhanging parchment paper. It should come out easily, thanks to that parchment liner. Next, it's time to gather all your tools for cutting. You'll need a clean cutting board, disposable vinyl gloves to keep everything neat and clean, a large kitchen knife, and my favorite tool for cutting fudge, the 5-wheel pastry cutter. This handy tool helps you score the fudge into perfect, even squares with minimal effort. If you don't have a 5-wheel pastry cutter, don't worry. I have another video showing you how to cut fudge perfectly using just a knife, so check that out. Also, don't forget to grab a wet kitchen towel to wipe the knife after each cut. This keeps the edges smooth and professional looking. Now that everything is ready, let's move on to cutting. At this point, if you're making the fudge ahead of time for an event or gifting, Now is the perfect time to freeze the fudge. Simply place the entire block, still on the parchment paper, into a freezer-safe bag or container. Freezing the fudge helps preserve its freshness and flavor, and when you're ready to serve, just let it thaw in the fridge for a few hours. I love preparing my holiday fudges ahead of time and freezing them, so I'm not rushing during the busy season. If you want more detailed tips on how to properly freeze fudge, be sure to check out my other video where I walk you through the process. Once you've removed the fudge from the fridge, carefully peel away the parchment paper from the sides and bottom of the fudge. This step is always so satisfying because the parchment ensures clean, smooth edges. With the paper removed, place the fudge block onto your cutting board. The fudge should be firm but still soft enough to cut easily. Make sure your cutting board is large enough to comfortably fit the entire fudge block, giving you plenty of room to work as we move on to scoring and slicing the perfect squares. Now that the fudge is on the cutting board, it's time to score it using my favorite tool, the 5-wheel pastry cutter. This little gadget makes it so easy to get even, professional-looking squares. First, I adjust the wheels to about 1.5 inches apart. That's my go-to size for nice, bite-sized fudge pieces. I start by placing the pastry cutter at the top edge of the fudge, making sure the wheels line up with the edge of the block. Then I slowly and firmly press the cutter down, gliding it from top to bottom in one smooth motion. The cutter leaves nice, even score lines without cutting all the way through, which helps guide the cuts later. Next, I turn the fudge block 90 degrees and do the same thing. I press the cutter down from top to bottom, creating a grid pattern across the entire block. This ensures all my squares are the exact same size. If you don't have a 5-wheel pastry cutter, don't worry. I've got another video where I show you how to score and cut fudge perfectly with just a knife. Be sure to check that out if you need an alternative method. Now that the fudge is scored, it's time to start cutting. I like to use a large, sharp kitchen knife for this part to get nice, clean cuts. First, I dip the knife into hot water and then wipe it dry with a kitchen towel. This helps the knife glide smoothly through the fudge without sticking. It's a little extra step, but it really makes a difference when you want those smooth, professional-looking edges. I start by cutting along the vertical score lines that I made with the 5-wheel pastry cutter. I press the knife firmly down along the first line, letting the weight of the knife do the work. After each cut, I dip the knife back into the hot water and wipe it clean again. This keeps the edges of the fudge clean and prevents crumbs or chocolate smudges from messing up the next cut. Once I've made all the vertical cuts, I turn the fudge block 90 degrees and repeat the process, this time cutting along the horizontal score lines. As I cut, I gently push the already cut pieces back together to help keep everything nice and neat. This way, the pieces stay in place, and I can ensure every square is evenly cut and looks perfect. By the end, I've got perfectly cut squares of fudge, each one ready to be served or packaged up for gifts. This candy cane fudge is truly the best combination of holiday flavors. Rich, indulgent chocolate, smooth, creamy white chocolate, and the refreshing crunch of peppermint. Every bite feels like a festive treat, perfect for embracing the holiday spirit. It's an ideal addition to holiday gatherings, whether as a sweet treat for your dessert table or as a thoughtful homemade gift. The festive layers make it as beautiful as it is delicious. And trust me, anyone would be thrilled to receive this fudge wrapped up in a holiday package. If you're planning to gift this fudge and want to take your presentation to the next level, be sure to check out my next video. I'll show you how to package your homemade treats beautifully with a few simple tips to make your gifts look extra special. Happy fudge making and happy gifting.